Rick Dollar, and I'm live at the Mountain Music Museum with one of the Tri-Cities and this eastern part of the United States, I've learned. One of the legends of music right now, Mr. Mal Cooper. Mal, how are you, buddy?
I don't know about legend, Rick. Real nice meeting you.
Well, there's a reason why we're sitting down today. I guess it's got a lot to do with a friend of yours that we're going to be honoring at the Mountain Music Museum this weekend at the Reese Shipley Memorial Scholarship Concert. And we drug you over. I mean, you've got all these people that are wanting to play for them. We got you to come in and play with your trio this weekend in honor of Reese, and we're just really happy about that. How did you make time to do it?
Oh, it just took time. I had to talk the other two fellows into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, the guitar player, Gary Sutton. Brian Sutton's father, by the way.
Wow.
And he and I played together over there for 15 years. But anyway, I asked them if they'd do it, and they agreed.
Amazing.
Have a girl that plays bass with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kathy,
We're tickled to death.
Kathy Arrow was her name. And
you're even involved with this. It was a huge thing that the family was all about having you there and having as many people that played with Reese as possible being there. And you know, how did things start for you in music? I mean, I kind of know this story, but you
for me in music, you say?
Yeah.
Well, I was riding around one time with a bunch of fellas, and one of them had a ukulele.
Wow.
And I was 16, and it fascinated me. It had an attachment on it. You could push buttons and get 3 chords.
Amazing.
In the key of C. Well, I played that all afternoon, and I went out and bought me one. And then drove my wife crazy, my mother crazy, playing 3 chords.
I can imagine.
But then I advanced to, later on, I advanced to guitar, 6-string guitar, and played in the dance band for 23 years. And then moved to Tennessee in 1978, ended up going back to 4 strings.
I started Reese.
Reese, I met Reese. I moved here in '78. I met Reese in the summer of '79, I think. The guy invited me to a picking session at the KOA campgrounds and up at the airport in Johnson City. And he said, "You stick around, and there's going to be a fella here that you'll like real well." And sure enough, I met Reese, and we didn't quit playing until he passed away.
Oh man! Now Reese,
he was a peach of a guy. Huh?
Yeah, I'm hearing so many great stories about him. I'd give anything if I could have just had 5 minutes with him, you know, to kind of find out what he would have thought about all this. But
he would have loved it.
I'm sure he would have. I mean, this is a guy that would go through. I've heard stories from the family. I've heard stories of him signing himself out of the VA because guys were calling him wanting to go pick.
Oh,
now, you know, there's a line you got to cross, and man, he's there.
Yeah, he was.
He just wanted to pick.
He did.
And like I said, we're gonna. I can't really pull the sheet down off this now, but you know, if you're gonna be in Bristol on Thursday or Friday afternoon on the 19th of April, you need to come by 316 Broad Street and see the unveiling of this brand new exhibit at the Mountain Music Museum. We're going to have some food and may have some guys in here picking around, having a good time. The family's going to be here. There'll be a lot of volunteers from the organization here. And the city has proclaimed it Reese Shipley Day. Now, did you ever think that would have happened?
Gosh, that's great.
So that you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
Oh, man. Well, we got your first reaction on that. That's good.
Yeah.
But it's something that I feel like that, you know, sometimes a lot of cities like Kingsport and many others try to do what they can do for guys like Reese, but sometimes they just don't know until, you know, I think Teddy, Reese's grandson, put together something for the city and said, hey, look, you know, these guys that are in your city limits are going to try to help recognize my grandfather. Yeah. And that's easy for us because we already know these guys. But
Had you heard of Reese before?
Yeah, I sure had. I'll tell you what happened the first time I ever figured out who Reese was. Is the first time, well, I say the first time, a lot of times we'll get kids from ETSU from the program to come in here, and maybe the first or second thing they'll say to me is, "Where's the Reese Shipley exhibit?" And I was like, "It's over here." You know, I'd always take them to the same spot. They take pictures with it, just a lot of stuff like that. So I started finding out who Reese Shipley really was, and he's a guy that has touched more people musically than he really knows. But you know, that works that way with a lot of musicians. That's like you and your trio. Those, you know, you guys have played with a lot of people. You want to share a couple of those stories? You can tell the Marty Stewart story too if you want to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Reese and I got invited to John Hartford's house.
Wow.
For a Christmas party. And
Man.
at that time, I didn't really know who John Hartford was.
To be a fly on the wall.
But I got there and I was amazed. I got to meet Grandpa Jones and talk with him, Vassar Clements, and then I was sitting playing music in a little jam session with some of the finest musicians I ever played with, and a fella tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and he says, "My name's Marty Stewart. I'd like to meet you." I says, "Okay." At that time, I didn't know who Marty was.
Exactly, but see, the cool thing about all musicians one of the things I've learned just in the past few years is when you can all get in one room and you have the love of the one thing, it's all about music. You can have all these differences. You can look different. You can sing different. You can do different types of music or styles of music, but musicians have a love for what each other are doing, and sometimes they're going to come up to you and just say, "Wow, how'd you do that run? You know, show me how to do that."
Usually when they do this, I don't know if I can do it again.
Well, sometimes it was a lucky hit, but
sometimes it is.
We're looking forward to having you at the show, man. It's going to be a great thing.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a wonderful place just to be Friday night. But come by and check out the museum on Thursday. Or I'm sorry, I keep wanting to say Thursday. What's that about? Friday. And then we'll 7 o'clock. The doors will open at Northeast State, and then it's on. I mean, it's going to be something come 7 o'clock. So
don't come late.
Don't come late.
I've seen the schedule, and I've seen I'm on first.
Are you really? Okay, then. You do not want to miss this guy and his people playing. That's for sure. So, Mal, thank you, buddy, for so much. We appreciate the history that you've kind of held together over a lot of years.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Right?
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. All right. Rick Dollar, we're live at the Mountain Music Museum in Kingsport, Tennessee. I'm with my old buddy, Mal Cooper.